Well, that stupid thing is around there. And
Yeah, no, that thing is wrong.
Printed out another agenda for you.
Oh, thank you.
We're rolling.
Okay, so we are starting the May 21st CPA meeting. Is 18:32. Yes, 6:32. So we have 3 proposals to talk about. We'll see how that actually goes. Well, 2 and 2 other things. So it's public schools. Hi again. Hi. The DPW Aquifer Protection CR. We promised to approve the general ordinances changes that will bring us up to code, statute, whatever you want to call it. And then we're having the annual meeting next month, so we just need to do prep work for that. Jamie made some changes already to last year's preservation plan. I'm sure you all read it with an eye to attention. Right.
I had a comment about that.
Well, you don't get to say it yet.
Okay.
Right.
slam dunk.
I know.
She's right. She's right.
Thank you, Ed. So the first thing we have is the minutes from March and April. Did everybody get everything?
Yes.
Okay, you weren't here.
I know, and I
Yeah.
have a
Oh,
comment.
please.
On the minutes for March 19th, it said that the motion to approve the minutes was seconded by E. Sparko, and the attendance shows that he wasn't here.
I'm going to assume that I meant Ed Swinnicki, and I put in my notes ES, not. Those translation error. Thank you for pointing that out.
That's a great observation on your part.
It'll be
You
corrected.
didn't want to be responsible.
No, you're not responsible for something you're not
Like, we know you're pretty good, but boy, that's,
He
I'm
was,
not
he was just like
omnipresent.
sending.
I'm not omnipresent.
You are, Ed. You are.
And see, you were wondering how I would have a comment about the minutes
I
that I
know.
wasn't here.
See? You did that. Any other changes, questions about the minutes from those 2 minutes? No? Good. Does someone want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of March 19th and April 16th as amended.
Thank you. Thank you. Ed, everybody okay? Good. Great. Grab. Thank you. The other Ed.
The other yes.
See, when you put my
Junior.
E-S, and what's your middle initial?
J.
So it's either E-J or E-F. Now we'll really have
That'll
that
only
confused.
confuse me more.
Jamie, do you want to go through account balances?
Yeah, they haven't
Stuff.
changed since the last month, so the ones that are on the minutes, there are $27.27 for historic preservation, $101,000, almost $102,000 for affordable housing, 0 in the open space account, and $280,000 and change in the reserve fund, and $225,000 in the undesignated fund for a grand total of $607,904.
That's looking a little low these
Yeah.
days compared to where it usually is.
So we must have
Yes,
spent
Dan.
$500,000.
Just a comment from the city council. The Everett Street affordable housing parcel, the restriction, affordable housing restriction was removed by the council because Habitat for Humanity
Oh.
said they couldn't put it on their agenda to at least 2022. So,
Are you serious?
so the mayor wants to see if there's any interest at market rate versus with affordable restrictions, but the council has said the first priority of any money they get for it would be going, 32,000 would come back to CPA, because I think 32,000 was
That's what
appropriated
was
from
gonna
CPA, so just, I'll keep you guys updated on that. So.
Yeah, they can afford to give us the money back on that, because they're gonna make money on that.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think the whole idea when we put that funding forward was to be able to give them kickstart and support.
Yeah.
Right. And as I said, I think it's just Habitat must be so far behind on projects. They just said that now that that was what they mentioned at the meeting. I'm not on that
Right.
committee, but I happened to be at
Yeah.
that meeting because it was before the city council meeting. And they were saying that their estimate was they probably wouldn't get to that project till about 2022, which is another 7 years. So
Sort of
I
appalling.
think they're, and
Okay.
if you know that parcel, it's, kind of got the dilapidated house
Yes.
on it.
Yes.
There's a lot of money into that with state grants for Brownfield and.
Yeah.
There's
The
a
one
lot-
on-
There's a lot of
on
money
Everett.
sunk into that lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
The old gas station.
The old gas station.
Sesky's house.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Just a update.
Oof. Okay, thank you, Dan. Doing anything else? General.
Oh, I spoke to the state Community Preservation Coalition in regard to that whole thing with the Mullins rule and affidavits
Yeah.
for missed meetings. And he said that no one in his tenure for CPA had ever asked he knew of the rule and that he was of the opinion that it explicitly did not apply to CPA.
Okay.
So we're gonna go with that.
Good.
But it still does apply to like adjudicatory bodies such as planning board, zoning board.
So I don't have to sign off my first son if I miss a meeting?
Right, so basically, everyone is allowed to
Sorry, he's already-
everyone's allowed to
Yeah.
participate
Well,
at a meeting with the vote regardless of their past attendance.
As long
As
you
long
read
as
the
that they
minutes.
feel, as long
Yeah.
as that they feel that they are
Right, up to date on what's gonna happen.
able to participate.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for clarifying that. All right. So, public schools. Again. Let's hope we get through this. All right. Let me find it so I can look at your. There we go. So, as a reminder, everybody, it's the fence project and playground structure, backboard thing for balls, and a shade structure. The CPA request is the equivalent to the total project cost, and the estimate we have was $33,964. And I know we had questions last time that you were follow up on, so if you want to just.
Sure. I do have some, I just printed up, we were told that we had to get 3 estimates. I don't have enough copies for everyone,
That's
I'm sorry. We were told that we would have to get 3 estimates if the project was over a certain amount of money. So we did that, and actually we found an estimate that was significantly lower. So now we're adjusting our request to $20,479 based on the lowest bid that came across. We'd like to amend this project slightly to just strike tree removal and just, because that was a big concern about whether or not we were removing the shade trees to put in more shade. So it just will be pruning and removal of overgrowth is necessary for removal of the rusted chain link section, including the sections that have grown into the existing fence. So if you take a close look at the trees that are there, there is some, they literally grew up through the fence, and some of it will have to be removed, but we'll be as judicious as possible with that. And then when we talk to the building inspector, if we can preserve at least a tiny bit of what's already there, it will be a repair and not a complete replacement.
Mhm.
And therefore we can continue, we can keep the same height fence, which is what we were going for. We didn't want to have to change the height of the fence. So we'd like to change it just to repair fence by replacing rusting, warped, or damaged chain link and any posts deemed structurally unsafe or unable to be reused during the process. So the other thing that was asked was for drawing, and we had a parent who volunteered to draw. And this is not to scale, but it gives you a sense. The fences around the garden here next to Center School was new when the garden was put in. It's black, it's thick, nice chain link fence, which is what we will be replacing the rest with. So then there's a section here of walkway, a section here of walkway, there's a gate here, and then the playground is here. The shade umbrella would go over the 2 benches that are already there, and we'd be replacing the entire outline of the fence all the way around to the back, and then not replacing this part of the fence, which is, divides us from the private residence that's right here. It's in pretty good condition. And then the wall ball and the basketball hoop would go along this side, so the shade trees are here. We've got some picnic tables that were donated that we put out under there. So it really is essentially, the entire area surrounding the playground and the outside of the school. This is the paved-in area where kids play, and then also, again, the playground where they play. So that sort of gives you an idea of, what we're talking about with.
How many entrances are there now?
There's this side entrance here, which does not have a gate to it. There's this front entrance here that does have a gate, and then around the side here, there's a driveway that's also an entrance. So really 3 entrances.
So there's
for
3
current.
ungated entrances where the kids can escape.
There's 2 ungated and 1 gated, and we'd like prefer not to say escape, but but we have lots of conversation about that. We have staff members out there with kids, and we don't have a problem with this being ungated, and we'd rather leave it ungated rather than gate it when it hasn't been necessary.
It's
to
never
gate
been a
it.
problem.
It's never been a problem.
So this is the joy of government, maybe, but CPA can't fund repairs. So this is right. We're too
We're right back where we were.
Right.
Because I don't know what the rules are then if, I don't know what the height rules are for the fence if
Right.
it's not a repair, if it's a replacement.
right.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's a question for the building inspector. I don't have an answer to that. I don't have a perspective on that.
What's the
Um,
difference between repair and, we don't fund maintenance, but I thought we could fund repair.
Capital
It'd have to be
improvement.
a capital improvement.
But
But a capital improvement, I always judged anything over $5,000.
They so
Okay,
Okay.
and I would consider this a capital expense and not if you were the school department and you were gonna replace that fence, you would not expense it, you would probably capitalize it, because it's 30 grand. That's the way that I would look at this.
Okay.
Even if you call it a repair, it's still a capital
Capital improvement.
investment. Then an IRS rules is you can repair an old piece of machinery and bring it, as long as you're adding additional years of life to it, it can be capitalized. So I would say that this could be capitalized.
All right.
Yeah, I would,
Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of go along with that. I guess I just, from Amy, so maybe I got a little more confused here with,
Oh.
is the whole fence gonna be new? It's just you're gonna go to the height that you have now? But is that what you were saying? Or, in other words, what was the actual change from repair to replace?
It was just a matter of if we can retain a few of the posts
I see.
that are in decent enough condition to be retained.
So you're just gonna salvage?
Salvage a little. If we can salvage some of it, then we don't have to, then it's not completely tearing it down and building it new. And if it's not completely torn down and building new,
Then
then
you
it can retain the same height as it currently is, which is what we were interested in doing.
Otherwise, they'd have to come under new regulations.
Yes, right.
Right.
And because we're in a residential area, I think those regulations are much shorter than we're interested
And
in.
you want the higher?
We want the height.
So, I mean, it's just a matter of semantics.
Right. I mean, I still think, the fence is obviously the biggest part of the project, but it's still, in a sense, I mean, it's, I would assume there's not a lot of material you're gonna be able to salvage. I mean,
But enough that you can.
Yeah, enough that we can, but it's
Then you
in pretty
can-
rough shape.
right, I mean,
So, I wasn't here last week, what's the other 10 grand for?
The other part is for a wall that kids can play ball
Okay.
off of. Has a basketball hoop attached to it, and then also a shade structure.
And it's actually
because it
5, right?
Yeah, I don't have the breakdown. Now it's down.
Because
It
you're,
is.
yeah,
It's 5. Yeah,
yeah. Your lowest bid was 15, and you're asking for a
and
total
we're
of
asking
20.
for 20. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's 5.
and that includes that shade thing?
That includes
and
the shade
wa-
structure, the
kickboard or
kickboard,
wall
and
board.
the basketball hoop.
Just getting back to the fence, Jamie, do you see a problem? I mean, you kind of read these regulations, or? you
yeah,
think-
so basically, if you have a non-conforming structure, fence, whatever,
Mhm.
the zoning, and you voluntarily remove it, the zoning ordinance requires to
Kicks you into
put back in a conforming manner. And the current zoning is 4 feet maximum fence height in this district. But the non-conforming, if you were repairing a non-conforming structure, you can keep its non-conformity. So by keeping, the building inspector said, by keeping some of the posts and replacing it's a repair job, not a removal and replacement.
Right.
And then I do think that, that the CPA law says, that's distinguished between capital improvements and maintenance. There's not a distinction between repair.
It's not really a
Okay.
I mean, it's not a maintenance,
It's
it's
not
really,
right.
it's a capital
Right,
improvement.
so it's
Yeah.
still like, you can have a capital improvement that's a repair,
Yeah.
but you can't have capital improvements
That's
that are
right.
maintenance.
Just to
Okay.
maintain.
Yeah, maintenance would be an expense.
Yes. All right. Other questions from folks?
Is this company, I see the 3 bids. I'm assuming they each have like some kind of references involved with them that got looked at, people they talked to. I see the range is quite interesting.
Yeah.
It always amazes me how, basically one guy can do it for half price of everybody else.
Right,
It always makes me nervous.
The one, actually, the Century fence though, or not, yeah, Century, which is the one that came in the lowest, was
Yes.
actually the ones that did the fence around the garden area,
Okay,
so we
you're
have
familiar with that.
experience
Okay,
with
very
them.
good.
Is that prevailing wage? Do you know?
I don't know. We had 3 different gentlemen come out and do the estimate, but I
Because
didn't ask.
with the Hasty fence, they actually specifically say that the labor is based on prevailing wage rate. I'm wondering if that has something to do with the cost difference.
I hope not. Or are those the guys that were at 28?
Yeah, they're the ones that are at
Most
28.
expensive ones,
So let the city council worry about
Yeah.
that.
Okay. All right. Other questions? Good? This side of the table? That end of the table? Okay.
Move to approve.
Come on.
Let me send you the number.
2479.
$20,479,000 from the undesignated fund for the playground improvements at Center Pepin School.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? All right, motion passes. Thanks.
One thing, Amy, when it gets to finance, it is a question that's gonna come up, so you might wanna go to Century and see if they are, if it is prevailing wage, because if it's not, and then you may wanna go back and get another proposal, and you can always come back to CPA for additional, I would assume,
Yeah.
if we send it back for the finance.
All right. I'll double check with that. Thank
I don't
you.
know how your proposal went into it, but it's just something that it might hold it up, and again, hopefully not long. If you have that answer when it gets there, it'll be a little quicker
It'll be
to
great,
rectify it.
Okay. So what's the process from this point on?
So we make our recommendation and it goes to,
Goes to the mayor.
Mayor.
And then the mayor sends a funding request to the city council. The city council then sends it to the finance committee. The finance committee then sends it back to the full council. If it's approved, then the mayor signs it. So
Okay.
it takes a couple months.
So by 2020, we'll have a
Great.
It takes a couple months. I don't know when the mayor will get it out. We usually only have one meeting, full council meeting in June, July, and August, but we've already set a second one in June, so, there's a possibility it could get there and maybe be done by August, but,
Okay. Is there anything that I need to do at this point, or does it?
no, just wait and.
yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Claire.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the drawing.
I'll be sure to share that with the parent.
If, I can have a copy of
Oh, sure, you can take this.
whatever you submitted,
Yeah.
so.
So
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
yeah,
Good night.
thanks so much. DPW, clearly not here. There are a couple of sort of rubs with this application. I had a conversation with the mayor earlier in the week. She stands behind DPW's sort of take that this is a project that should be supported. She had questions around Southampton's support of it, in that it's essential for her to feel comfortable supporting it, that Southampton has to support it, and they have to put money in. So the piece with that is that Southampton they operate on a town meeting thing, and that's how they vote on CPA, and it is supposedly only annual, and they just voted on CPA funds last night. So ostensibly they would not be voting again on CPA until next year. And if I'm remembering right, the land trust only negotiated the right to buy rights with the 12 or 14 family members through October of this year.
decision.
Yeah, so that is problem number one. Problem number two, potentially, and I have no idea if this is true or not, but looking at what Southampton CPA just funded, the projects were there were only 4 projects, and they were between $1,000 and $4,000. And this is like 250,000 or whatever it was. So I, one, don't know if they have that much money in their CPA account, two, if it would ever pass.
I'll have a heart attack over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
We're not
the
paying the plan.
right. The third piece, Jamie, if you could remind me, because you just told me and I forgot.
Was it Wingrid, the appraisals?
Yes.
Oh, so they're looking to, they talked about this at the last meeting, is that they're looking to get a new appraisal of the property because the request that Southampton own the land and East Hampton own the restriction is different than the original proposal, and that requires them to do the math differently in a new appraisal. And so they came looking for funding for that appraisal. They thought that it could be approved more quickly than the full project, because
And by
Southampton,
they, you mean?
the BayPAC committee, who Patty and Mike and so when they've gone to Southampton, they keep their administrative accounts. They approve the full 5% for administration at the beginning of the year, which allowed them to theoretically say, yeah, we can fund this out of the administration, but since this CPA puts together a budget and everything is accounted for, it doesn't matter if it's $200 or $200,000, it still has to go, any supplementary appropriations have to go through the city council, and it would take, the same amount of time. I explained to her that
So she was hoping for us to just give her $2,000 to do the appraisal, basically.
to go for the appraisal.
That's not how it works. So, I sort of feel like
Smells
this is
like a fish market.
Right one.
we can't do much with this right now, and we also don't have anybody here to answer questions. So.
I can see why.
Yeah, right, I know. So, unless we have more questions that we can then convey to the applicant, I feel like this isn't even really worth spending time discussing right now. There's not much we can do.
Maybe we should vote on it and turn it down. Then we'd be done with it. We'd stop all this argument.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like the DPW has the correct thought that it is an important chunk to preserve for our water resources, but I don't know how that is actually going to happen.
I can think of 100 other places where $250,000 could go. That are real, that people aren't playing games with. So I think we should vote on this.
Folks.
I lean a little with Ed because, again, I'm not in any way saying anything bad about the DPW. They've been here except for tonight. I have more problems with Patty. This is the second meeting. She hasn't even shown up. And she's the one that we asked a lot of questions for. Like, can you get letters of support? I mean, I would have wanted to see letters of support from the mayor, letters of support from the selectmen in Southampton, letters of support from our state representatives. We asked about taxes. If it's tax, what's the taxes? In other words, if East Hampton bought it, what's the tax? And those questions have never been answered. I mean, we could keep it on the agenda, but I mean, I don't see in any way it's going to be approved anytime, at least in maybe my vote would not be for it until there's a lot of questions
Right,
answered.
yes,
So,
I agree.
I mean, I have no problem voting it down, and if she wants to come back,
Okay,
Come back,
reapply.
reapply.
then
Yeah.
reapply. I mean,
Well,
I don't know, do we have
Go with that.
in our bylaws, Jamie?
Oh, like, do we have a
You know,
thing
like
that
the city
will say
council,
no,
I don't think we do, but like the city council, if something gets voted down, then you
you can't come back?
can't come
for-
back for
I mean, I think
6
that's
months.
I know that is in regard to zoning. It's repetitive petitions,
Yeah.
and once something's been rejected, there's a 2-year minimum before they can reapply with the same project.
I
I
would,
don't know that it applies to CPA because that's something that comes out of the zoning.
Right.
And it's nothing that I've seen in the CPA enabling legislation or in the
Okay.
bylaws
Yeah, I don't
and the
know.
ordinance for the city, but
it's a single application that we deny.
Yeah.
They have the right to reapply. It
Right,
would just
and it
have
would
to
be
go, they would
changed,
have to
yeah.
go through another cycle, that's all. It would
Right.
cost them a cycle.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah,
Uh,
Andy?
I mean, I think it's potentially a good project.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't think the
If those
legwork was
questions,
done.
No.
if those questions
You
aren't.
know, again, the applicant, it's fine, the applicant brings it, but
Right.
again, I think I felt a little, I won't say sorry, but.
No, I
you
didn't.
know
I
what?
felt sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the Public Works was here in the last meeting, trying to
Yeah.
answer the questions, and
Right.
and could answer what they were
What they could,
responsible
yes.
for,
Yeah.
but couldn't answer anything. There were questions, I forgot who brought it up, about the trust, the river,
Yeah, Winding River, and it was
why,
me.
you know,
Yeah.
what are their options, and we asked for backup on that.
Yeah, I saw it in the minutes. and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I said.
Yeah.
And,
Not enough of effort on your part.
Yeah, no, I agree. Gary?
The only question I would have is, how important would this thing really be? I mean, is it really that important to get that source of water to come at East
Yeah.
Hampton? I mean, if it's really a big deal, maybe we should reconsider a little bit.
The room would be full, hey, if it was that important.
Well,
I
I
just
people
don't
realize
know.
the water, that's what gets me. I mean, I just was at a place where I had to brush my teeth using a bottled water. Water's
Really important.
Water's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's,
So, I mean,
that's one of the only
yeah.
things that makes me concerned. I agree 100% that they haven't done their due diligence, or whatever, with the application, but I wouldn't, you know, and I'll go along with voting it down, but I just,
Can we put them on the next?
I mean, there's nothing saying we have to vote because it gets to the end of the cycle. I mean,
Right.
you know, I mean, if you want to leave it another meeting, but I mean, to
It would
me, if
send-
they don't
it would send a
come,
message. It
Well,
sends
that's
a
what I'm
message.
wondering.
you're right about
Is
that.
if
They
we
wanna get
actually
production, I'll
might
come back,
force
you're
them
right.
to do something, because clearly us asking them questions
They're not doing what
has
they
not
need to do.
gotten them to answer them
And
and show up.
it's the end of the funding cycle. Therefore, I'm going to move that we reject the application for the aquifer protection request.
And I'm gonna add an addendum to that, strongly encourage them if they want to reapply, to actually think it through.
but, you know, just before we take a vote or a second, and I don't know if the mayor brought this up in the last, but the conversation I had with the mayor is this was brought to her a year ago.
Yes.
It wasn't this just this year.
No.
They approached it with her a year ago and
And
never
never
followed
got it
up with
together.
her.
Yes.
She asked a lot of questions a year ago about like some of the things we've probably asked about what, and nobody ever got back to her on that. So I
Yes.
mean, it was, I mean, again, she mentioned that to me.
Trying to get on for 24 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
So I'll second Ed's motion.
All right, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Harry?
Aye.
You can oppose, it's all right.
Yeah, you
I'm
can.
not gonna oppose it.
All right,
And I don't care if they come back. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
it's, they'll
It
send
just
a
told me-
message if they come back.
Just told me a loose ends, you know?
yeah, no, you're good, good. Okay.
Who's seconding?
I
Dan.
second it. And
Okay, so the general ordinances, if you all remember, Jamie last time had made a couple of changes. Ed, you had some challenges to them. So they got removed, and all that's in there is stuff that actually brings us up current.
All right.
So Jamie, you sent out a clean copy to everybody. I read through it. Fine. I don't know if anybody, there's any discussion.
I got one question.
Yeah.
It says in there for the housing, 38, is it 28 or 38 units? Are we actually, where is this?
Oh, no.
That's a preservation plan. I think we're
Well, I'm
talking about
Yeah,
Okay.
that's okay.
the ordinance.
We are gonna talk about that next.
All right, cool.
These were just the ordinances.
Okay.
Discussion about the ordinances? Good?
I'm good.
All it is bringing us up current to where we need to be. Yeah? Okay, I'm making a motion that we approve the changes that Jamie made to the ordinances that bring us up current. There's probably more formal language I should be using.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Jerry. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great, thanks, folks. So the last piece is the preservation plan. Jamie went through and made a couple changes, made a couple notes of stuff that needs to be updated. I noticed that basically none of the committees have gotten us their revised list.
I did receive this today, or yesterday, from the Parks and Rec,
Yay!
so it wasn't in the document that I sent
Yeah.
you.
So besides the housing partnership and now Parks and Rec, nobody else had really submitted their changes to us. Andy, you had a question around
Yeah, the number of
affordable housing.
what is the number? Is there a way from?
So that 38 units of affordable housing per year came out of the housing production plan that was
Done by-
approved,
Housing partnership
By
that was
housing,
approved
yeah.
by DHCD.
and also got city council approval. So I mean, that's the city's 5-year plan goal is 38 units a year.
Oh, a year, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's right.
So there were questions in there around what's going on with One Ferry, which Jamie, I know you're gonna look into, I think, yes?
Did I put a note in there? that-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Okay, yeah.
But other than that, sort of any of the statistics that were included that could be updated, Jamie either already updated or will update. Besides that, nothing, and any updated lists of projects that we get from folks will go in. Other than that, there's not a ton in there that needs to change. We don't need to vote on it this meeting, do we?
No, so I would recommend that we bring a sort of final draft version to the meeting next month.
Yeah.
And then solicit comments on it.
Right, and then we
And then
can
update it, and then
vote on it.
vote on it in the July meeting.
Yeah.
And I'll have a new copy that includes those comments from people who show up.
Yeah,
I would like hard copies of it. I'm not, when you start getting e-documents that are over 20 pages, I'm not gonna waste my ink to print them.
Sure.
So
and if
I
you-
would like a
I-
hard copy for the next meeting.
I would be.
I'll read the thing online, but I'm not gonna take my time to print 40 pages every time we have
Sure,
a meeting.
sure. And feel free to just reply to the email that, you know, that so that I'm aware.
All right.
I mean,
Okay, that
I
works.
hear you, and I'm happy to do that, and I'll do my best to print it out.
Because I pay enough in taxes that the city should at least pay for the
Sure,
paper.
and it's no, and I have no problem printing it out, I just trying to save some paper, so I'm only printing it for the people who request it.
I understand that.
So I'm happy to print for you.
okay. Is there other discussion? Which, do people have other questions about it? I mean, we are gonna go through it at the, our annual meeting and probably use the same format, though other people are welcome to read through it instead of me.
And then I think after that, we can hash it out and
Yeah.
finalize it.
Yeah,
Is there anything that was like missing from things that have changed in the last year?
I
that-
saw you updated the rec description.
Yes. I added-
Yes,
added-
I did. Yes,
I
you did.
added
Thank you.
some text introduction to the recreation
Yeah.
division. We do have a new National Historic District, which made it into the list of resources for under historic.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything else that I missed, so.
Not that I noticed. Anything else that jumped out at anybody else?
No, I mean,
The list of, yeah, as long as the list of projects, current projects is up to date, any statistics that can be updated are updated, and then, yeah. Keep on bugging people to get us their lists of projects. I think that's it.
Yeah.
So, are we good with that? Any other discussion?
Is there any way, and maybe that's just, I'm not in the right, or I'm not sure, is there any way to get an update from, I see a lot, I was looking at the back, and there's a ton of projects back there that are being worked on.
Yeah.
Is there any way to get an update as to where these people are and all this stuff? Or where,
Yeah.
since I'm an idiot, I don't know where to look.
So the list on the back, I believe, is up, I updated it for the current year's appropriations.
Right.
And you can see,
oh, okay.
the two asterisks at the end of each title is denoting projects that are still actively, in progress. And with the exception of,
No.
Oh, sorry, Jamie, Andy's more asking sort of like where people are, like,
Status-wise, not the, yeah, I'm sorry.
for projects
Are
that
they
are started,
halfway
like,
done, or are they?
Yeah,
Where
any
are
kind
they?
of an update as to where they are in the project? Like, are they doing something to the football field, or the soccer?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know where that would, is there someplace I could look for that? Is
No.
it-
I'm happy to discuss what I know. I don't always get all the information. We've been trying to do quarterly reporting from each of the projects while they're still using our funds. With organizations that are outside of the city, we have a grant agreement that stipulates the quarterly reports and the closer reports. For organizations that are part of the city, it's more of a, word of mouth type situation. So the football field, I'm just,
Well, I mean, you don't have to, I'm just thinking, you give somebody 200 grand, it'd be nice to know what they're doing, you know?
yeah. And I mean, and this is something I do prepare it for every meeting. It's just sort of where those current projects are at numbers wise, how much is remaining, and it's something I can talk about.
Yeah, I'm not so interested in I'm obviously interested in the dollar amount,
Yeah.
but I'm more like, have they put the sod in? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, where are they?
Like a descriptor of.
Even if they say they're 50% done,
Yeah.
or they're 75% done,
What does that actually mean?
where they're at. I mean, I'm talking about, they don't have to write a paragraph, a couple
Just to
sentences.
the open National Wanapum Promenade,
Right. Yes.
basically
Is almost done.
almost complete. Football field,
June 1st.
Yeah.
the football field went out to bid. I don't know anything more than that.
Okay.
Old Town Hall is currently in construction. They've done a lot of the paint removal, which has been the most laborious part of it and time intensive,
Yeah.
consuming. So as soon as that bit is done, the rest of it is gonna just go together really easily. They've got the doors on order. They're not putting them in until they're the last thing to go in because they don't want any damage to happen. Rail trail, the 400,000 for Union Street to Ferry Street
Yeah.
was the bid was just awarded a couple weeks ago, so that basically just starting. Mutter Field, Brickyard Brook, I just got the grant agreement back from PCT. So to my knowledge, they haven't started on anything yet. And soccer field improvements at Nonotuck Park, which were just approved, I haven't heard anything from.
There's nothing done.
So I don't think anything's been done.
I can get that from John anyway, I'm not with that.
So that's
Just
the
like there's some-
current status that I know of.
Thank you. So the one other thing, and I got all on my high horse and now I've backed down off of it a little bit, but I just wanted everybody to be aware, because it was in the newspaper, and it was news to me, that the Cottage Square apartments that we gave Arch Street developers $300,000 for. So my background is in affordable housing, so I had a little bit of a pickle about this, but they promised people in April, not Cottage Street Development, the contractor who was doing all the work, promised an April 1 move-in date, and they just moved in today. And so folks have been living in hotels in the interim, which I find
They're
to be...
paying for it.
They were paying for it, but still, I find it sort of appalling. And the JJ Walsh was the contractor. So I don't know if you guys saw, but the fire chief accused them of lying to get their certificate of occupancy, saying that the sprinklers were all installed when they were not. So there's just some issues, and I was thinking about writing a letter to the editor, and I probably will not. But
Go ahead.
I just want folks to know, and because in that article with all of the issues going on, it was very clear that CPA funded this project, and
Right.
so I just want you all to know that that is out there, and I'm saying it public tape that
It was in the paper as well as on the internet.
yeah, that
Couldn't miss it.
we had nothing to do with the fact that the contractor was also fined by OSHA, and that was part of their $97,000 of overages.
But they wanted to borrow from us.
That they wanted to borrow from us.
They never
Yes.
came back
They
either,
never
did
came back,
they?
yes. And that actually the articles misstated that CPA turned down their request, which is not what happened. They just didn't come back.
They knew better.
Yeah, they
We
knew
didn't, they never gave us a chance to turn.
Yeah.
Kind of makes us look good now, doesn't
Right,
it?
yeah.
Right.
So I just wanted folks to all know that.
So you're not gonna write the letter?
I might write the letters.
I think you should write the law.
Okay. But I was thinking about writing it from CPA, but I'm not writing it myself. Anyhow.
Everybody will know who you are anyway.
That's true. That's my piece. Anything else, Carrie?
Yeah, all that stuff that Jimmy's gonna find out about is gonna help out the master plan implementation committee.
Aha. All right.
Because a lot of projects on there were, forecast to be done at a certain date and funded and everything else. So as that goes along and those are completed, well, it's gonna make the master plan look really good. So I thought I'd bring that up.
Good. Thank you. Anything else from folks?
So I haven't looked at that master
All
plan
right.
in ages.
I know. We're adjourning the meeting.
Move to adjourn.
All right. It's 7:11.
All right.
Thanks, folks.